everybody. Welcome to yet another episode of Spring Fever. As always, it's me, XFL Jim, joined by the one, the only. It is Uncle Rico. What is up, Eric?
What is up, my friend? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Eric. We got a big announcement last week. So, obviously, we talk a little like speculation last week on the XFL USFL merger and what happens Thursday, the day after we record and after we just post everything.
Big
They
news.
they announce the confirmation of the intent to merge of the XFL and USFL. That's how they worded it. The confirmation of the intent to merge. It got approved at Congress because it had to go through Congress for like the anti like monopoly fund or whatever. I don't remember exactly what that was for, but it got approved. They are merging, and we have a start date. We got a lot of news, quote unquote. So a lot of this I do trust because people like James Larson, I do trust as like a source. But there's a lot of information out there, a lot of like different reports. The only thing that we have that's confirmed right now is that they are merging, and the start date is March 30th.
How do you feel about that start date, my friend?
I'm cool with it. So it did cause NBC to jump out. So NBC's no longer partnered with them
Because of the start date.
because of the start date. They had so NBC has a conflicting contract with NASCAR at that point,
Okay.
so they won't be able to cover the merged they're apparently what people are alluding to. They're calling it the UFL.
Still gonna take me a little time, my friend.
Me too. So no NBC. It would be a partnership between like Fox, ABC, and ESPN.
That's not bad. It's still not bad.
That's pretty good.
It's still not bad.
That's still pretty good. So basically, partnership there. It looks like what we're getting is. So we don't know exactly what teams are staying. What people have been saying is that there are 8 teams. The cities being Arlington, Birmingham, DC, Detroit, Houston, Memphis, San Antonio, and St. Louis. My initial reaction to that is that's a lot of Texas. It's the same initial reaction I had to the XFL last year. It's a lot of Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a lot of Texas, but the one thing I want to ask you this is when I was doing my stuff and reading it, it said that we're going to start with 8 with the goal to expand.
It sounds.
You actually trust the fact they're going to expand?
I do. So it sounds like they want to go slowly expanding. So it sounds like they want to go, from what I've seen, I saw a couple instances, it looks like they might be trying to go to 10 teams in 25.
I don't know, man. Like, for me, and I mean, I think I'm more of a negative Nancy than other people. I think if you don't include teams right off the get-go, it's going to hurt the product. And because of that, you may not get those teams back. Because hypothetically, let's say I'm player X and I didn't make the cut of the 8. I'm going to look at alternatives. Maybe I go to the Arena League. Maybe I go to the X League. Maybe I go to the Europe League.
CFL.
And then if I go there, or CFL, go there, have success, am I really going to want to come back where I've spent the last couple of years building my life and I have a suitable income to a place that ran me out of town?
I think so. Obviously, you're going to have that like sort of negativity that they're kicking players out. We also like the 8 teams isn't confirmed. It could be more. We still don't know. It's just people have been like highly alluding to 8.
And hypothetically, I play for the Panthers. Like, is my spot on the team guaranteed, or is there going to be like a huge like redraft for the whole?
They're still signing. So like so at least a lot of the XFL and USFL teams are still signing players.
But you know what I mean? Like, am I still like?
I don't think they'd be doing a huge redraft of players. I think.
Well, then what happens to the players on the Vipers and the Maulers? Do they go?
I think they're just up for draft. I would assume they would just be up for grabs for people to like just sign to contracts if they wanted.
Okay. All right. It just, I look at it like this. Like, it's December 6th right now. It seems to me that's a lot of shit to get done in 3 months.
It does feel that way. It does feel we felt so. I'm getting shades of like how we felt about the USFL a little bit,
Yeah.
where it feels like it's really fast approaching. That's not very far away from March 30th as a start date.
And the thing you don't want to happen is what? You don't want to rush this out and put out a shitty product. This has to be on point because I know you love spring ball, Jim, but the reality of the situation is this. If this doesn't click,
that's it.
Spring ball's done.
That's it.
It's done.
It's done. So it looks like we have the XFL CEO being more in charge of everything. I'm with Alex here. They'll be ready.
See, Alex, I'm a negative Nancy, dude.
Eric's the one to like you hold the reins on me. You hold me back from being just a huge like positivity guy and like sunshine pumping up these leagues. You're the realist. We balance each other out.
I'm a negative Nancy. And in terms of the NBC thing, I feel that kind of hurts just because if games are buried on Fox Sports 1 or even ESPN, because ESPN isn't in as many houses as NBC,
for sure.
That's going to affect the numbers as well.
I'm okay with losing NBC if we get more games on like ABC and Fox.
But we don't know that though. Like
we don't.
We really like don't know that. Or you say it's on ESPN, like does that mean ESPN's going to relegate stuff to ESPN Plus?
So they did. I mean, if it's a similar contract to last year, which is basically all we have to go off of, then no.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, like because already NBC is NBC, and because you're starting this on this date, you're losing NBC, which is a huge flow to the financial flow, excuse me.
NBC wasn't providing a ton of money though.
But it's eyes and revenue.
It was eyes.
Like hypothetically, like a lot of teams, and I'm like, kids watch this. They like a logo. Oh, mom, give me that shirt. Oh, dad, give me that shirt. Just because they like the logo. Like my nephew, like randomly likes the Georgia Bulldogs because he likes their logo. So he has all this Bulldogs gear only because he likes the logo. You know what I mean? It's like it's kind of just like stuff like that, dude. You know what I mean? Like possible merchandise sales that could lead to stuff.
So it will basically have to see what the split of games will be on like Fox, ABC, and ESPN FS1.
Mm-hmm.
Because the USFL had like at least 2 games, I believe, every week on like actual broadcast TV.
Which helps. And I think it's good because that is Final Four weekend, I believe, or maybe it's Elite Eight. I don't know how the NCAA tournament's falling this year, but at least you're not going against those first couple of weekends. There'd be less Sprowski with the basketball. MLB really hasn't even started. So it's in a good position. I think it's a good part of the calendar year to get going. The only thing you're really competing against is like the NBA playoffs, not for a couple more weeks. That's going to be mid-April when those start. So it's not, I like the start date. I just feel like there's so many T's that have to be crossed, I's that have to be dotted. I don't think this is going to be a good structured product come March 30th.
The one issue that I have, like, so we're basically having to put like trust and faith into them running it because the knock that they've had the entire, like both the XFL and USFL, the knocks that they've had is they are so tight-lipped with any information. So we don't know how long they've been working on it. We don't know what they've done behind the scenes because they just won't tell us.
Which is horseshit, dude.
It sucks. It really sucks. And I will also say, as much as I'm going to like pump up and hope for this league and love it, it really does suck losing. Like if it is 8 teams, that sucks. And that sucks for a lot of the players Like it sucks that like half of these players, if it goes to 8 teams, are losing jobs and losing like their spot.
And just this is completely out of left field. But son of a bitch, dude, we may have to go to freaking Detroit that weekend of March 30th if they have a home game.
Oh, home opener for the Panthers?
Because, like, dude, the 29th, we can hit the Sweet 16 at Little Caesars. The 30th, go next door, watch the Panthers. The 31st, hit the Elite Eight games.
We might have to make this happen.
I mean, like, that's a lot of stuff going on. That's a lot of stuff going on in D-Town that weekend, man.
I didn't know Detroit was that popping.
Dude, Detroit's right there, dude. Like, Caesars and Ford are kind of close. So, definitely make that happen, my friend.
God dang.
But look, dude, I liked the USFL. I liked the XFL. I felt that year one of the USFL wasn't properly organized. I felt year two was a better product, better organized. Maybe that's because it's year two, people were playing better ball and everything, used to everything. I felt minus the Vipers, everything was very organized for the XFL. I just hope it doesn't look like shit, because if this looks like shit,
this is like shit, then we're toast.
We're done. And it's got to be good right from the start, because what you experienced going to the Vipers game and what we experienced watching it not there, it just set a bad tone for the XFL, everything related to Las Vegas.
Oh, it really did. It very much did. I have the faith that it will be good from the jump. So we don't know what rules they're going to go with. We don't know like what sort of playbook they're going to be playing here. We'd have no idea. I have faith because it's like they're not getting a bunch of players. They're not doing like a brand new draft. They are playing with like technically a lot of these guys are in like year 2 or year 3 on these teams.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that no matter what, the continuity of players kind of raises the level that we're going to see from this league.
I just want Terrell Buckley back, man.
I hope he comes back, dude. I would love Terrell Buckley so much.
I do think there are certain things that they can do that could help it. Be a little bit more vocal with the gambling aspect of it, of the fantasy football aspect of it.
Injuries, please. Be more vocal with fucking injuries, please.
Injuries. Look, you have partners with ESPN and Fox. You're telling me that with all the shitty ass talk television that those two stations are pulling out, you can't alternate and have one coach interview on one of those stations every other week? You know what I mean?
Eric, you're talking crazy here. They have to. I mean, unless you want to have Pat McAfee talk about the league, they have to have more room for Pat McAfee.
Jesus Christ, fuck Pat McAfee, dude. Like, you want to talk about some guy that just, oh my god, it amazes me that people want to listen to that fucking guy.
It's, I liked him in spurts. It's just too much now. It's too much. I'm excited. I am upset because it was a very nice year for me as a fan of spring football to have so many games to watch in one year. The XFL and USFL both happening in the same year was beautiful.
Yeah, those days when we had leagues from both was great, but unfortunately, those days have passed. I don't like the fact that they merged so quickly. Like, we've talked about this before.
We've been talking about it for like a few months now, like at least.
Like, I look at it like, why are you doing this? Like, the XFL partner with The Rock, not sharing financial stuff. Money makes the world go round. Why are you running after 1 year to partner up with the USFL?
They've been wanting to partner. Hey, but it looks like they're in the driver's seat though, with Russ Brandon being the one in charge. So,
which is another weird thing to me.
Who knows?
So if he's in charge, that tends to make me think they're going to have the
XFL. I would think they would have the XFL rules.
Exactly.
Which, this is my personal bias, I prefer.
Okay.
I love the XFL rules. And to be fair to everyone out there, most of the rules are overlapped in the same.
Yeah.
Like, the only real big difference is there's no PAT and the kickoff. Those are just really the two big ones.
Yeah, which is fine. And I just think the more, how can I word this? I could without repeating myself. I don't know. Like I just let's just okay, so let's just kind of brainstorm right now. We're starting an NFL league. What do we have to make sure we do? We have to make a schedule. After we make a schedule, we have to make sure the places we're playing the games aren't booked on those days. We have to make sure Ford Field doesn't have a Janet Jackson concert, doesn't have like some like zoo or circus coming in.
Yeah.
There's just so much little like freaking
It's a lot of logistical stuff.
I mentioned like look at like that weekend, the opening weekend, the 29th or the 31st, Detroit is hosting at Little Caesars the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. So immediately now you bring the XFL there, and I know Detroit's a big city. There's going to be other events going on. Is there going to be enough hotel and housing? You know what I mean?
That is if Detroit opens with a home game.
You know what I mean? I know I'm just throwing that out there.
But yeah, that'd be
that's
crazy.
Another logistic thing you kind of have to plan for, like with what and everything that's going on. And these stadiums get booked out early. You know what I mean? It's just
for sure.
It's just one of those things where the planning part is a bigger bitch than people realize. You have to make, and I just feel the 30th is just way too rushed.
When would you start it? Would you start at like the original USFL date?
I would want a full year to plan, dude. If I'm being just utterly fucking honest.
I'm being honest, same.
I want a full year. I'd want to make this shit tight, but I know I couldn't last a year running it back with everyone knowing this is going to happen. So what's date wise? What's the latest you think they could start
and be okay? It had to be like
May 25th. No, that would lead to
no, because you see the issue with these leagues is you also want to leave enough time for these guys to be able to make it into training camps for the NFL.
I don't know. I just feel
like
I said,
the issue with like the XFL and USFL is you also want to give guys a shot to be able to like make it to training camps and play in the preseason for the NFL if they get a shot.
Yeah, and Jesus.
So you got to be done like early July. So say like just say a 10-week season.
Your hands are tied with the state.
Basically, like the latest you could go is basically when the USFL starts. Usually, like when did the USFL start last year? Was it April?
I don't know, man. All I know is this, dude.
They started April 15th, and that's basically the latest you can go.
It just sucks, man. Like this, I just feel this is going to be a disaster. I just have this feeling.
I don't think it'll be a disaster, but I definitely would have preferred like another version of last year or this year.
Yeah, like run it back, but
I would have really preferred just to run it back and not have any merger talk for at least another year and a half, 2 years.
And the merger stuff can be going behind the scenes. That's fine. There could be rumors on the internet. That's fine. But right now, like, and I've used this analogy like a million times. I hate repeating myself, everybody. But if I'm player X on the Pittsburgh Maulers, I want to make sure I'm able to chase my dream. And I don't know, like, I feel that a league that's really going to benefit from all this is the European League. I feel that instead of
I think all these leagues will benefit. I think like arena football will benefit. I think the CFL will benefit, and I think like European will very much benefit.
Because I think those guys will kind of okay, look, I can go to the European League. I'm guaranteed on Team X. I can go play instead of waiting here on for this league, which seems like an unprepared mess in my eyes because I don't have a home and I have a place with a home, so I'll just go there.
There are some speculations that this merger kind of happened and is feeling a little rushed because it seems like the NFL just wanted one league to kind of partner up with instead of two.
Okay, why though? Why do they only want one?
I'm not sure why they would care.
Yeah,
That was my like rebuttal. Like I'm not sure why the NFL would care where they're getting like because I'm just gonna flat out say it. These are not NFL high priority players.
mm-hmm. And
It's
I'll
not.
be honest. I read a very interesting story today because right now, like I don't know, like in terms because you and I haven't talked about the Florida State shit, and we're not going to talk about the Florida State shit here. But one of the big rumors is that I've read two different articles on is the ACC and Big 12 kind of doing their own thing and partnering up, and then the SEC and Big 10 partnering up with the NFL and becoming farm teams.
Ooh.
And if that happens, what happens to this? This just immediately takes a further backseat than what it is right now.
It does. Also, I hate the sound of that though.
I hate the sound of it too. Like
that's gross. That's gross.
But right now, there's just a lot of merging talks going on with college football, and that's going to affect what happens here if we see kind of like a farm system when they partner up with NIL deals.
So that was the bigger thing for me of what affected these kind of leagues is the NIL stuff in college. Like I feel like that is the biggest factor hurting these kinds of leagues.
Mm-hmm.
Is that kids like they could just stay? You'll have a 7-year guy in college when, if he wasn't good enough for the pros, guess what? He'd be making something in the XFL. Now he can just stay in college forever, make a ton of money, and then like go do whatever job he wants afterwards.
Jesus, dude. Like one of my buddies mentioned that comment. He goes, there's going to be like some 28-year-old just living on NIL money. He's going to be back for his 12th year at school X trying to chase the dream.
There's guys playing like 8 years now.
Yeah, which is just insane.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like I feel like NIL was a more bigger like hurt to the XFL and USFL than anything else.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Right now for the UFL, it's not even confirmed that that's what they're calling it. Everything's just like alluding to that.
United Football League, Universal Football League.
No, it would be like it'd probably be United Football League, but there's already been a United Football League, so this is also take two of that. So my thing was, Eric, if I'm these guys sitting in a room doing this merger, someone just has to like eat one and say, guess what? We're sticking with the XFL, we're sticking with the USFL just to keep continuity. Is what I would do.
And then have a champion at the end? Like
No. So like if I'm in these talks for a merger, like back in July or whatever when they announced it, or like in July when they announced it, I would say if I'm the USFL or I'm the XFL, just what? I'm gonna bite the bullet. We're not gonna call it the UFL or the NSFL. Just call it the USFL. Just call it
because of the brand recognition.
Yeah, call it the USFL or call it the XFL. Just keep that continuity going. These are brands that are still like kind of in people's heads.
Yeah.
Now you're coming out with a brand new league with a brand new name in a brand new year one.
Which is disastrous because you're starting from square one. You're gonna have to build that relationship with the fans.
You do have the ability like, oh, these are the same teams, but it's not the same league, and who knows what they use the same rules. You're starting over. Maybe you get a year one bump, but we've had 3 years in a row now of these leagues starting up and doing another year one, and eventually that's gonna run its course.
I agree 100%. We need to get it. We need to get the ball rolling. That's a good point. They should have had one team say, hey, you know what?
They may have. We don't know what the name's going to be. Like, they may have done that behind closed doors. But if they didn't, that's like, I would have just said, hey, guess what? Call it the XFL. Whatever.
Hmm.
I feel like this is me just, again, being
Or
biased.
flip a coin, or
Yeah, flip
see
a
which
fucking coin.
brand had more viewers. Like whatever. There's got to be some way to design it.
It's the XFL.
But you're right. There's AF or whatever that was called. There's to the point where there's just too many leagues, and Joe Casual is just gonna be like, "What the hell is this? Do I have to watch this?" But Joe Casual could be like, "Oh, I watched an XFL game last year. It was entertaining. I'll watch this. Oh, the USFL is back. I'll watch this." There just needs to be some sort of clear
continuity.
going
Keep the
on.
continuity
So
going.
everyone's going in the same direction.
The one of the biggest things these spring leagues never have is continuity.
Yeah, I agree 100%, dude.
So either call it the USFL, stick with the USFL rules. Call it the XFL, stick with the XFL rules. I think that would be a benefit.
Agree 100%.
Eric, you want to talk a little arena football? Or is there anything else on XFL that you want to ask before we move on?
The one thing I just really hope they keep is I really like the whole replay shit they did last year. Like us being in, hearing the clear-cut communication of what's going on. That's the one thing I really like, which I hope they continue.
I think that's the one thing that everyone has universally loved from the XFL in particular is like being able to hear the refs mic'd up and everything on replays.
Yeah. No, that's it. I've vented long enough.
I also hope if it is like from what I've seen from the TV broadcasts, it seems like it's going to be more of a broadcast style. Again, these are all allegations, alluding, whatever. People have been speculating that with the TV broadcast deal, it would be similar to how the broadcast deal was with the 2020 XFL, where I think 2 games a week were on like analog TV, and then 2 were on like ESPN and FS1.
And I want, when they do cut to Dean Blandino, I want a cigarette in his mouth and a Starbucks coffee cup, and him just looking like he's hating life, breaking the stuff down.
I would love it because I love Dean.
I hate Dean.
Do you like any of those refs that they bring in for like the NFL or whatever to talk about that stuff? Like
You know
whatever.
You know why I hate Dean Blandino? Let's rewind. There was a little time where a little team from Detroit was an underdog. Went down to Dallas. Matt Stafford threw a dime to Brendan Pettigrew. Pass interference was called. And Des Bryant, so that was a penalty. And then Des Bryant from the sidelines ran onto the field without a helmet on, got in the referee's face. Oh, yeah, that should have been a 15-yard penalty. Not called. And they picked up the PI, which led to the Detroit Lions losing. And, dude, that team was Sue, Farley, Stafford, Calvin Johnson, Golden Tate. They could have made some noise. Dean Blandino was there. So, you know what? Fuck you, Dean Blandino.
Was he reffing at that time?
I think he was on the field, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. I hold a grudge.
That's fair. Hey, Eric, I respect that. Let's talk a little arena football, and by a little, I mean we're only going to talk about the team names and locations. That's all I really give a shit right now. Because speaking of which, this league is also playing next year. I think their start date was set for like February, maybe.
But we've known this for a while, though.
We've known this for a hot minute. I don't know if they have very many players. I don't know what the situation is there.
But this is going to be another team. Like, I think we're going to see this team be able to fill out their roster with a lot of D2 players, a lot of D1 players that didn't get, not even D1, I'll say Division II.
It's the same thing you see in like the indoor football league. It's the same kind of guys that you see there.
A lot of D2 players and a lot of teams, maybe some guys from the Maulers who don't want to go overseas. They just want to play ball.
You'll see a lot of like XFL and USFL guys that like kind of make rounds in the like National Arena League, IFL, and I assume now the AFL. You'll see some CFL guys. You'll see like very few XNFL guys, but it's a lot of like these guys kind of like share the spaces.
I have to say, dude, looking at these team names,
Let's go through the team names real
I
quick.
got 3 teams that just based on names I like.
Let's go through the team names real quick. In the Western Division, we have the Billings Outlaws from Montana,
Uniform gear could be tight.
the Oregon Black Bears
That's
from Salem, Oregon,
ex-girlfriend lives in Oregon. Not a fan there.
the Washington Wolfpack in Everett,
Wolfpack,
Washington.
Wolfpack in the house.
That's pretty good. And Rapid City Marshals.
Okay.
If it's the West, which Rapid City is that?
I don't know. Let me Google this, buddy.
I'm looking it up right now. Rapid City, South Dakota.
And it's in the West?
They're calling that the West, huh? That kind of sucks for them for traveling.
That's interesting. Okay.
That blows for them. Okay, so who out of the West do you like, Eric? Who's your Western team?
Oh, the Billings Outlaws.
I thought you would like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I might go to a game in Rapid City. Who knows?
Okay.
In the Central Division, and guess what, guys? There's 3 teams in the state of Kansas.
Which is amazing to me.
It's crazy to me. Iowa Rampage and Council Bluffs. So this is actually the closest team to me. Is the Iowa Rampage. Council Bluffs, it's where it's like attached to Omaha. That's where everyone went before gambling was legal here. They all went to the casinos at Council Bluffs.
Respect.
The Salina Liberty, it's an armpit of a city. The Salina Liberty in Salina, Kansas. The Southwest Kansas Storm in Dodge City, and then the Wichita Regulators.
That name is so bad. That's my team.
The Southwest Kansas Storm?
Yeah. Why not just the Kansas Storm? Why is Southwest there?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, I'm going to go with the Regulators.
Mount up.
How do you not go with the Regulators?
No, dude, Southwest Kansas.
I'm with you that it is so bad that it's good. 100% is.
Yeah.
In the South, we have the Desert Hawks of Odessa, the Orlando Predators, the Georgia Force, and the Louisiana Voodoo, Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Well, it's either going to be the Louisiana Voodoo or, you know what, Texas Forever, Odessa, Texas, dude. Friday
Desert
Night
Hawks?
Live. I'll go with the Voodoo here. I kind of like that name.
I like the Voodoo a lot. So any one of these arena leagues or like alternate leagues, I like them to get really creative with the names if they can.
Yeah.
That's why I'm such a big fan of the Battlehawks.
Okay.
Like it's dumb, but it's fun. And then in the East, we have the Philadelphia Soul, the Minnesota Myth, the Albany Firebirds, and the Nashville Cats.
I'll take this.
I'm gonna go with the. I like Firebirds, but I like the city of Nashville, and they spell cats with a K. So.
Yeah, I'll go with the Myth just because that's the one closest to me. No, I don't know. Maybe the Rampagers. Maybe the Iowa Ramp. I don't know where Council Bluffs is.
Oh, so do you know where Omaha, Nebraska is?
Yeah.
It's like it's basically literally attached to that directly to the east. It's a real shit heap.
It would take me 7 hours to get to Council Bluffs. How far to St. Paul?
Let me see how far it would take.
5 hours, 6 hours. So I'm closer to St. Paul. So St. Paul will be my team.
Council Bluffs, I guess, has to be my team. It's 2.5 hours for me. Well, what about Rapid City? I bet Rapid City is like 8 hours. No, I bet it's like 4.5 or whatever. Rapid City is Rapid City is 6.5 hours.
This seems like a Heart of America league.
It does, but you know what this league's missing that I like a lot of these leagues are missing?
What?
I think they should put a team in Colorado.
Yeah.
Why not put a team in Colorado? What the hell? And Eric, for your information, every arena league is like a Heart of America league. These people are fans. It's
Their
all
fan.
like local support. It's all like mid-sized cities. The place I'm living right now used to have an IFL team, and we've got like it's like a 50,000 person city.
Okay. Interesting.
That's where these leagues like thrive, are these mid-sized towns.
I'm a little disappointed because I can't find any Louisiana
Voodoo
voodoo
merch.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm very upset with it too. There is a Chicago team that was announced, but they are holding off a year. They're waiting until
Ooh.
2025.
Where would they play here?
That's a good question. There's got to be a venue because the arena football side, they can play in like anywhere where you can play hockey.
Oh, okay. All right. So they could play in oh my
'Cause that's
god.
what they did here. They just played in like an event center.
The
Where you could
arena
also
where
go.
they played the I gotcha. The arena where they played where they host Raw and everything here when WWF's in thing. I gotcha.
They probably could, yeah.
Yeah.
Eric, last thing we have to talk about, obviously some X League action going on. We have a couple games this weekend. Some big games. Because the X League, Eric, does something I like to call little relegation going on.
I like it.
Relegation and promotion.
I like it.
So, for those of you who do not know, they have the X League 1, the X1 Super, and then the X1 Area. The Area is the lower tier league, the Super is the higher tier league. But at the end of the year, the lowest two teams from the Super have to play the top two teams from the Area. And then the winner of that game gets promoted, and the loser gets relegated back down.
So that means the game's on Friday. The winner moves up, the loser moves down.
Correct. So we have Fujifilm Ebina versus the Dentsu Caterpillars, and the All Mitsubishi Lions, who got relegated last year, playing the Lixil Deers, our Lixil Deers.
I'll take the Deers. Deer Nation, baby. Come on.
I'm taking the Deers, and I'm going to take Dentsu.
Okay.
I also, like, I've been off All Mitsubishi ever since last year when they basically played a season without practicing.
I love it.
Because they didn't practice because of COVID, and they just went into the season with no practice.
Love it.
It's just amazing.
Love it. Just real quick, just an idea to backtrack. Looking at the comment that Alex left here, I bet they use ESPN because of the XFL connection.
They will. I mean, I bet they use it for some of it.
Well, I just read that sentence and immediately on my bet comment, ESPN Bet should be just pumping this stuff.
Well, when does that actually start?
ESPN Bet, it's already live.
It's live now. Like it's fully like transitioned over to ESPN Bet.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, they should be like once it's like everything's available, they should be like pumping out futures.
Yeah, they should be. I mean, they probably won't, but they should be.
I wish they would partner with like Underdog or something.
Yeah.
Or Prize Picks or whatever.
Prize Picks should be doing stuff. Thrive should be doing stuff.
It'd be sick to have like fantasy options and whatnot. It'd be sick.
I love them for do fantasy options, but it's hard just because like everything's done just insanely half-assed. I thought DraftKings did a half-assed job last year.
It did.
So
we'll see how it works this year. Because like I will say DraftKings does at least an all right job with the CFL.
Okay.
We'll see. We'll see how it looks. There is two more games though, Eric, in the X League. Sunday night, so Saturday night for us. IBM versus Panasonic and Obic versus Fujitsu. This is your semifinals, I believe. I think we're gonna have a rematch of Panasonic and Fujitsu.
You think I agree with you. I gotcha.
Like IBM has kind of like been a little slick there, but I think we're gonna see a rematch. Also, Eric, I know we didn't talk about like the games that happened however many weeks ago. November 19th, so like 3 weeks ago.
Jim, that feels like 8 years ago to me,
Yeah, but the score
man.
here blew my mind when I looked it up.
Let's hear it, Big
So
Doc.
Fujitsu won. They played Tokyo Gas that weekend. Can you guess the score?
12-2.
10-3.
Oh,
Yeah, when has Fujitsu not absolutely like just demolished one of these teams?
that's weird.
Right? Especially Tokyo. Like Tokyo Gas is feisty. That's a great game. I went back and watched it. It was actually very entertaining.
That's a weird score, dude.
I think they might have been looking ahead. If anyone's kind of like had the benefit of the doubt, it's them. Because as I've alluded to, and I will mention every time, since like 2013, Fujitsu has only lost to Panasonic or Obic.
Interesting.
That is crazy.
Interesting.
Could you imagine if like I'm just gonna use college as an example. If since like 2010, Alabama's only ever lost to like LSU or Georgia, and those are the only teams they've ever lost to.
Yeah, that's weird.
That'd be crazy.
That'd be electric.
I will make an announcement, Eric. I won't be able to stream. I'm gonna try and stream the Friday night games for the X League. I won't be able to do the Saturday night ones, but I'm gonna try and do the Friday night, and then. So basically, it's bowl season for college. Whatever. I'm gonna say it right now. Starting December 16th, I'm gonna start doing. Oh, should I do it in January? Never mind. I'm gonna do it in January. I'm gonna watch the XFL in 2020.
Okay.
Be ready for January. Saturdays,
That's
baby. Saturdays and Sundays in January, or Fridays and Saturdays, one of the two.
I probably won't be there, dude. I need my beauty sleep, dude.
Well, that would just be like if it's Fridays and Saturdays, it would be middle of the day.
Okay. All right, listen, I could make that happen for you.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a good time. I'm working all the streams out. We're gonna have a big fun time. We're gonna do halftime shows. I'm gonna make like a big fun thing of it because it's gonna be the 2020 XFL, and we're gonna be showing the games. It's gonna be a great time.
Okay.
And we're gonna be able to get. I don't know. They did 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
That's 40 games.
Yeah.
Right? 4 games a weekend for 5 weeks. That's 40 games, right? No, 20. That's 20 games. I can't do math.
Yeah, dude.
That's 20 games.
Yeah, that'll get us through a summer or winter, excuse me.
It'll be great. It'll be great. Stay tuned, everybody. Eric, any parting shots before we dip out?
Let's hope the UFL doesn't F this up.
I really hope they don't. I'm really worried. I'm cautiously optimistic, but I am worried. I hope they don't fuck it up. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week for another episode of Spring Fever.